Children, now we'll take the calculation of arithmetic mean in case of discrete series. As I told you earlier, discrete series means the values having the frequency or the items having the frequency. So here the marks and number of students, the frequency is given along with the items. Here this data what is given over here, what does this mean? That means these are the marks 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, these are scored by these number of students. For example, 10 marks have been scored by 5 children, 20 marks by 10, 30 marks by 40, or 40 marks have been scored by 20 children and 50 marks have been scored by 25 children. So this is the data given to you. You are supposed to calculate the average marks or what is the arithmetic mean of this data, right? Now in the case of discrete series where the frequency is given, the steps what you are supposed to follow are these. First is multiply frequency with the variable x. That means each frequency you will multiply with the variable, right? Marks will be considered as x and number of students, these will be taken as frequency. So here, see this table here, the same table for solution I have written down in this form, the data what is given here, marks and number of students. Now here marks, this will be x column, number of students, this will be frequency, because this is showing the frequency of children in a particular category of marks, and third column will be fx. Now in this case of direct method, the formula to be applied is x bar is equal to sigma fx upon sigma f. This means that you have to calculate sigma fx and sigma f to get the arithmetic mean. How will you get the sigma fx? By multiplying x with f, you will get fx, right? And doing the total of fx column will give you sigma fx. Clear? So here the step says multiply frequency with the variable x. This is the first step. Second, get the sum of items, that is sigma fx. Divide sigma fx by total number of observations. Here we have divided it, and apply the formula x bar is equal to sigma fx upon sigma f. Here you will see that I have written down or sigma fx upon n. What does this mean? Sigma f is the same as n. N stands for number of items, and frequency, that shows number of items or number of times a particular value appears in the series. So sigma f, total of f column will be the same as total number of items. So either you write sigma f or you write n. That means the same thing. Now these are the 4 steps. Here's, just look at this table and see how the steps have been followed over here. First we have multiplied frequency with the variable. This is the variable, this is the frequency, and we have multiplied it. We have got fx, and how we have multiplied? 10 into 5 is equal to 50, 20 into 10 is equal to 200, 30 into 40 is equal to 1200, 40 into 20 is 800, 50 into 25 is 1250. So multiply x column, individual value over here with the individual frequency and get fx, right? So multiply frequency with variable x, get the sum of items. After multiplying it, what is the next step? You have to add up this column and get sigma fx, sum of sigma fx, or sum is total of fx column, and here the total of this column is 3500. And second step is divide fx by total number of observations. We have to divide fx by total number of observations, and for that you have to find out total number of observations, that is these are the observations, total number, that is number of items, or sigma f is 100. Then apply the formula x bar is sigma fx upon sigma f, or you write down sigma fx upon n, that is the same thing. Now sigma fx is 3500 and sigma f is 100, divided by this and you get the value. This is known as arithmetic mean. So in the case of discrete series, this is the direct method of calculating arithmetic mean, and this is a very simple one. And after learning about individual series, I think it will be very clear to you that is a very simple and easy method of calculating arithmetic mean. The only thing is that you should know the steps clearly and you should know the formula clearly, or you should know, or you should learn the formula by heart, so that there is no confusion. If the formula what you are writing is wrong, then obviously you will not get the correct answer. So learning formula is very necessary. So learn these steps, learn the formula and do the calculation, and you will enjoy doing it because there is a simple calculation, just you have to put the right values. And always marks column, that will be x, and frequency column will be named as f. Frequency column or number of any item what is given frequency is always shown in the form of f, right. So multiply both the columns, apply the formula and get the answer. Now this is the direct method. Now we come to the shortcut method. As I told you earlier, there are three methods: direct method, shortcut method and step deviation method. Three methods are there, and any of these three methods you can apply. Here for the convenience sake I have taken the same example to tell you that any of these method what you are applying, the answer will always be the same. If answer is coming wrong, that means there is some error. So any of these method whatever you apply, the answer will always be the same, but the only difference is one is little easier, another is little extended form of it, though it is not difficult. Now shortcut method, first is decide, assume, mean. As in the case of individual series, I told you, in the shortcut method always the mean is assumed first, then the actual mean is calculated. And why it is assumed? Because shortcut method is suitable only when the data is quite large, though it can be applied in small number of figures also when the data in this case is not very vast. But when the data is very vast and huge figures are there, then it is advisable to either use shortcut method or step deviation method. And in that case, first thing is that shortcut method, whenever you are applying, first thing is that you have to assume mean. So first step is decide, assume mean and name it as A. Second, calculate the deviation from assumed mean. After assuming certain mean, you have to take out the deviations, as we have done in the case of individual series. Take out the deviation from assumed mean and you get x minus a, that is d, right. Then multiply deviations by frequency, and when you will multiply deviations, that is d column, with frequency, what will you get? Obviously it will be fd, because d is multiplied with f, right. Calculate sigma fd. Next step is do the total of fd column and calculate sigma f, that is total of frequency column, and then use the formula a x bar is equal to a plus sigma fd upon n, right. As you need sigma fd over here, that is why you are totaling this column, and n is same, or you can say it is sigma f, so you are totaling this column to get the values, and a is obviously the assumed mean. right? Now let us see how the same example what we have taken earlier, how we are doing the calculation with the shortcut method. Again the marks and number of students, same data is given. These are the marks given to you and you have to name it as X column. Number of students given to you, same data, it is F column. Then the third step, you have to take out the deviations, that is X minus A. And in this case, what is A? Assume mean we have taken as 30, right? So here you can write down A is equal to 30. This we have taken as assume mean. Now 10 minus 30, X minus A. 10 minus 30 is minus 20, 20 minus 30 is minus 10, 30 minus 30 is 0, 40 minus 30 is, this is plus 10, 50 minus 30 is plus 20, right? Now next step is get FD column. FD is D multiplied with frequency. So FD column, this is D column, this one, this is F column. So you have to multiply individual figures like this. 5 into minus 20 is minus 100, 10 into minus 10 is minus 100, 40 into 0 is 0, 20, 10 is 200 because this is plus, 25 into 20 is 500, right? Now you have to add up this. This is minus 200 and this is plus 700. So sigma FD is plus 500, right? So this way X column and F column is given to you. You have calculated deviations by taking assume mean. 30 is the assume mean. Deviations like this, 10 minus 30, 20 minus 30 and so on from the X column. X minus A, getting this figure, multiplied this column, D column with F, you got FD, right? And as your formula says, X bar is equal to A plus sigma FD upon sigma F. So you will put the values accordingly here. What is A? A is 30. So write down 30 over here, plus sigma FD is 500. So write down 500. This is 500 sigma FD. Then sigma F is 100. Write down 100. As I told you, first write down the formula clearly, and after writing down the formula, put the values, looking at the calculations what you have done over here. And then the answer is 35, right? And when we calculated the same data with the direct method, then also the answer was how much? 35. And here again we have got the same answer. So both ways, either shortcut method or direct method, the answer is the same. Clear? Now after this you are left with another method, that is step deviation method. Now let us see again that how the same example will help you to calculate arithmetic mean with the help of step deviation method. Now we will move to step deviation method now. As I told you, shortcut method and step deviation method is more or less the same. The only difference is that you have to divide the deviations by class interval or common factor, and later on you have to multiply the data with the help of multiply the data by common factor. Now see the steps. First, decide assume mean and name it as A. Second, calculate deviations from assume mean, and what it will be? This will be D, right? Divide deviations by common factor. X minus A upon C is equal to D dash. Multiply step deviations by frequency, and what we will get? F D dash. Get FD dash, sigma FD dash and sigma F. You have to do the total of FD dash column and get sigma FD dash, and do the total of frequency column to get sigma f. Use the formula x bar is equal to a plus sigma fd dash upon sigma f into c. This is the formula for step deviation method, right? Now we will take the example to show the calculation. Now here the same example I have taken, marks and number of students. Marks 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, number of students 5, 10, 40, 20 and 25 as we have taken it earlier, the same example. Now how to do the calculation by the step deviation method? You have to make 5 columns in this case. First column is x, right? Second column is f. Both these columns are given to you. Marks are x column, number of students f. So this is the given data to you. Now you have to take out the deviation from assumed mean. Now again the assumed mean in this case we have taken as 30, then x minus a, 10 minus 30 will be minus 20, again same way we got minus 20, minus 10, 0, 10 and 20 by taking out the deviations from assumed mean. This will be D column. Next step is x minus a upon c. That means this column will be divided by common factor. And what is the common factor? Here the class interval is 10. So c is equal to 10, right? So x minus a upon c. So minus 20 will be divided by 10 and you will get minus 2. Why we divide minus 20 by 10? Because x minus a is minus 20 here, divided by c, that is 10, and you get minus 2. Same way minus 10 divided by 10 we get minus 1. Then 10 divided by 10 we get plus 1, this will be plus, and 20 divided by 10 we get 2, right? Now next step is, this is D dash column. Next step is FD dash. This is according to the formula given to you. You have to make the columns. So next column will be FD dash. Now this is D dash column and this is F column. So you have to multiply these two columns, right? Don't multiply D with F, then you will get only FD. But here you need to have FD dash. So multiply F with D dash column. So 5 multiply minus 2, you will get minus 10. 10 multiplied by minus 1, you will get minus 1. 40 multiplied by 0, you get 0. 20 multiplied by 1 is equal to 20. 25 multiplied by 2 is equal to 50. So get FD dash column and do the total of this column, sigma FD dash, and you get 50 because this is minus 20 and this is plus 70. The answer is plus 50. After calculating these deviations or after doing the calculations over here, doing the total of frequency column, doing the total of FD dash column, only these two columns you need to total because your formula says that. You need to total FD dash column and F column only. So after doing the total, write down the formula. Now here A, as I told you, A is what? A is, this is A, this is assumed mean. So A is 30 plus sigma FD dash is 50, sigma F is 100 and C is 10. So it's very simple and it is interesting also. If you learn the formula, you write with confidence the correct formula and then very easily you can put the values and do the calculation. Here 30 plus 50 upon 100 into 10. This will be 30 plus 500 upon 100, and the answer is 35 as you got earlier, right? So it is clear that whichever method you apply, the answer will always be the same, right? So in the case of discrete series, these three methods can be applied. Any one of these you can use, but the result will be the same, and the methods of calculation I have told you, and the formula you have to learn properly, that whichever method you are applying, use the correct formula in each case and you will get the correct answer. So this way it is very interesting to learn arithmetic mean. Don't get confused and try to do as much exercise as you can with many more examples from the book, so that you will learn it properly and you will never do the mistake. Now children, after learning the methods of calculating arithmetic mean in case of individual series and discrete series, we move on to the calculation of arithmetic mean in the case of continuous series. And as I told you earlier, continuous series, they are also having frequencies, because this is a group data in which there is a distribution in the form of classes and frequency. So in the continuous series, class interval is also given, and along with that frequencies are given. Now we will take the example here, and this calculation of continuous series, this also we will do by three methods. What are these? Direct method, shortcut method, and step deviation method. So first we will proceed with direct method of calculating arithmetic mean. Now let us see what are the steps. First is obtain midpoints of the classes, that is L1 plus L2 upon 2. So in the continuous series the class interval is given, and you have to find out the midpoint of class interval. For example, the class interval is 5 to, you can say 15, then 15 to this is 30, right? Now 15 to 25, you can take 15 to 25. What is the class interval over here? 5 to 15. L1 here is 5, L2 is 15. L1 is lower class limit, L2 is upper class limit. So in this case 5 to 15, L1 is 5, L2 is 15. What will be the midpoint? That will be 10. How do we get it? L1, or you can say by applying the formula 5 minus 15 upon 2. This will give you 10. This is 20 upon 2, that is 10. So in this way you get the class interval and the midpoint, right? So this way any midpoint can be calculated by applying this formula, L1 plus L2 upon 2, lower limit plus upper limit of the class interval divided by 2, and you get the midpoint. Second is multiply frequency with midpoints. In the question the frequencies will be given to you, and after calculating the midpoint you have to multiply frequency with the midpoints. And what will you get? Midpoint when you are labeling it as M, and frequency is F. So what will be the multiplication of frequency with midpoint? This will be F M. Here F stands for frequency, M stands for midpoint. Clear? So this is the second step. Third is calculate sigma Fm and sigma F. Now why do we have to calculate these two? Because the formula, see the formula here, this formula says that x bar is equal to sigma Fm upon sigma F. So for calculating arithmetic mean, you need sigma fm and sigma f, and for this we have to calculate sigma fm. What is sigma fm? The total of fm column. And what is sigma f? That is the total of frequency column. So third step is calculate sigma fm and sigma f, and then fourth, apply the formula. This is the formula given to you. Clear? So this way the steps you have to follow in the case of continuous series when you are applying the direct method. Now let us see it with the help of an example. Marks and number of students. This is given to you. Marks between 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. As I told you, in the case of discrete series, class interval is given, and this is called class interval because there is an interval of 4. You can see 0 to 4. What is the interval? That is 4. Same way 4 to 8. What is the interval between these two figures? Equal to 4. Here again 4 and here again 4. So this is the classes are given, and here the frequency is given. Now what does this show? This shows that between 0 to 4 marks there are how many students? 4 students. This means 4 students have got marks between 0 to 4. Similarly, 8 students have got marks between 4 to 8. 2 students have got between 8 to 12, and 1 child has got between 12 to 16. Right? Now here again, what is the lower limit in this class interval? In the first case, lower limit is 0, upper limit is 4. How will you calculate the midpoint? 0 plus 4 divided by 2. This will give you the midpoint, right? Same way 4 plus 8 divided by 2. That will be how much? 6. 4 plus 8 is 12 divided by 2. That will be 6. 8 plus 12 divided by 2. 12 plus 16 divided by 2. You will get the midpoints. This I will show you here. Now for solution, follow these steps. First, make x column, marks that are supposed to be x, and as I told you, number of students, that will be the frequency, that is f column, and copy down the data in the same order here as given in the question. Frequency follow down, copy down in the same order. Then you have to calculate the midpoint. Now here 0 to 4, the lower limit is 0 plus 4 divided by 2 is equal to how much? That is equal to 2. 4 plus 8 divided by 2 is equal to 6. 8 plus 12 divided by 2 equal to 10. 12 plus 16 divided by 2 is equal to 14. So this way you get the midpoint, right? So the data you have copied here in the x and f column, no calculation over here. First calculation what you are doing is calculating midpoint, and this is the method of calculating midpoint. After this, you have to multiply frequency with midpoint, right? Or multiply midpoint with frequency. What will you get here? Multiply 4 with 2, you will get 8, and this will be fm because you are multiplying f with m, right? So 4 into 2 is equal to 8, 8 into 6 is equal to 48, 2 into 10 is equal to 20, 1 into 14 is equal to 14. So you are multiplying these two, right? So first you have calculated the midpoints, and then you have multiplied midpoints with the frequency. Now after doing these two calculations, Next step is do the total of this, because your formula says sigma Fm. So calculating sigma Fm you will be doing by adding up this column. When you add up this column, you will get sigma Fm. In this case it is 90. Then you need sigma F. How will you get sigma F? Calculate F column, do the total here. Sigma F is equal to 15. You are adding up all these frequencies and getting 15, right? Now you have to apply the correct formula over here. Formula is x bar you know that is arithmetic mean. X bar is equal to sigma Fm upon sigma F, the same formula. First you will write down here. Next step, copy down the values. Sigma Fm over here is 90, sigma F is how much? 15. So the total is, the answer is 6. Clear? So what is arithmetic mean? This is x bar or this is arithmetic mean. So arithmetic mean here is 6. This is the answer by the direct method. Clear? Okay. Now the same example I will take to explain to you the shortcut method and step deviation method, right? Now we will move on to shortcut method. First you should know the steps and then you will do the calculation. Now shortcut method, as I told you again, when there is long calculation then you have to find out any shortcut method so that it is easier. So here first step is obtain midpoints as you did in the previous one in the direct method. Obtain midpoints, and what these midpoints will be known as? This will be known as M. Decide assume mean. Now here this is extra step and this assume mean will be A. Here assume mean, you have to assume certain mean. You don't know what is actual mean. You will again assume certain mean as you did in the case of other series. Now here how will you decide assume mean? From the x column, any central value and assume it as mean and label it as A. Third, calculate deviations from assume mean. You have to take out the deviations from the mean. This will be M minus A. Remember in the case of direct method we did x minus A is equal to D. Here we are writing M minus A. Why M? This is the same as x column, but here we have taken the midpoint. So instead of writing x, we have taken the midpoints of x column because they are the class interval. And in the class interval you cannot take any particular figure until unless you take the midpoint. So the midpoint is M. From the x column you have taken the midpoint. So instead of x minus A, you will write down M minus A, and this will be D. Then multiply deviations by frequency and get FD. Deviations we have taken as D, right? And when we multiply it by frequency we get FD. Clear? Then calculate sigma FD. Again doing total of FD column and getting total of it, doing total of frequency column, and we get sigma F. Then apply the formula. X bar is equal to A plus sigma FD upon N. This is the formula for shortcut method. Why we write down A here? Because we have assumed certain mean. We don't know the actual mean. What we have assumed plus sigma FD upon N. N is the same thing as, you know that, N is the same thing as sigma F. So A plus sigma FD upon sigma F, that will be the X bar in the case of shortcut method. Now after learning all these steps, we will move on to the example. Again the same example what we did here, marks and number of students, same I have taken over here. Copy down X column, copy down F column from the question. This is marks and number of students, X 0 to 4, 4 to 8, like this only. Number of students again the same. Now you have to calculate midpoint, again the same way, 0 plus 4 upon 2, 4 plus 8 upon 2, and you got the midpoints. Then M minus A, that will be deviations from assumed mean. So M minus A is equal to D. Now M minus A means this is M column, and what is the assumed mean here? You have A is, suppose we have taken 2 as assumed mean. So 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. Then 6 minus 2 is equal to 4, 10 minus 2 is equal to 8, 14 minus 2 is equal to 12. So M minus A, this is M and this is A. M minus A, you will get this column because you have taken assumed mean as 2. So this is deviation or D column. Now your formula says FD. So you need to calculate FD. D column you have done. Now how will you get FD? It is clear. You need to multiply D column with F column. Then only you will get FD. Right? So this is F column and this is your D column. Multiply these two columns. Then you get FD. This is F and this is D column. Multiply these two. Here 4 into 0 is equal to 0. 8 into 4 is equal to 32. 2 into 8 is equal to 16. 1 into 12 is equal to 12. So this will be labeled as FD column. Right? This is simple calculation. Now your formula says sigma FD. So you have to do the total of this column. Here sigma FD, this is adding up all these, we get 60. This is sigma FD. And what is sigma F? That is 15. Right? Now after doing this calculation, you are in a position to put the values against the formula. Right? Because you have completed your calculations over here according to your formula what it needs. Right? Now apply the formula. X bar is equal to A plus sigma FD upon sigma F. Again see this same formula I have written down over here. X bar, same formula you learn you have to apply for particular method. Correct formula you have to use. Now here as A is 2, we have taken A as 2. So A, you will write down 2 over here plus sigma FD is how much? This is 60. So you will write down 60 here. Then sigma F is 15. You will write down 15 here. And then what will you get? 15. This is 4 is a 60. So 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. This is your arithmetic mean. Same answer as you got in the case of direct method. Clear? So children, it is very simple calculation. Don't get afraid of this calculation. It is very simple one, and with the help of simple example I have made it clear to you the method to apply the formula. And when you practice more numericals over this, you will really enjoy working over in statistics, and you will learn how to calculate arithmetic mean in few seconds only. Right? So try it and you will enjoy, but remember that you should be very clear about the steps, because until unless you know the steps, you will not be able to apply the formula properly. All the steps are in the same order, because you immediately cannot calculate sigma FD until unless you calculate D. Right? For calculating sigma FD, first you have to calculate D. Same way, for calculating D, you have to calculate, or you have to assume mean, that is A. Right? And for getting A, first we have to calculate midpoint. So the steps goes one by one. Then you reach to the formula, and after getting the formula you apply the calculations and then apply the formula to get the answer. Okay, so these two methods we have done, direct method and shortcut method. Now third method, you know what is the next one? That is step deviation method, right? Now we will move to third one and we will see what is the method and will we get the same answer or not. Okay, this is step deviation method, and as I told you in the case of discrete series, then in the step deviation method you have to calculate class interval. You have to find out what is C, right? Now see the steps here. First is obtain midpoints, and what these midpoints will be? This will be M, right? Decide assume mean. What will be assume mean? That is A. Same way as we did earlier. Calculate deviations from assumed mean, that is M minus A. This is D. Fourth, divide deviations by common factor M minus A upon C equal to D dash. Now here I will explain this. This is the extra step in the step deviation method. Dividing deviations by common factor. Now what do you mean by common factor? I think you are clear about it, but once again I will tell you what is common factor. Now in this case the common factor is 4. How do we judge it? See the class interval here, 0 to 4 is class interval is 4, 4 to 8 interval is 4, 8 to 12 4, and this again 4. So the gap or the interval between these classes, that is 4, that is equal class interval. So in all these classes what is the common factor? Common factor is 4, right, because the interval is 4. So this will be considered as common factor and we will take it as C, or it is also written as either C or you can write down I. I is the class interval. It is the same thing. So divide deviations by common factor. M minus A we have calculated here, this is D column, divided by C, common factor, and then you get D dash, and I told you what is the common factor here. Then multiply step deviations by frequency. Now what are step deviations? When you multiply step deviations, deviations are D and step deviations are D dash, and multiply step deviations by frequency, we get the FD dash. These are deviations and these are step deviations, right? When we take out D, that means M minus A, we are taking out only deviations. These are deviations from assumed mean, and when we are dividing it by class interval, it is called step deviations by assumed mean, right? So multiply step deviations, that is D dash, by frequency and get FD dash. Then do the total of FD dash column, this is sigma FD dash, and total of frequency column, that is sigma F, because your formula needs it, right? So this is the formula for step deviation method. X bar is equal to A plus sigma FD dash upon sigma F C. C is the class interval or common factor. Now after learning the steps, we see the calculation here on the basis of these steps only. Marks, the same example I have taken, X column same given, F column is given to you, take out the midpoints as you did earlier, then take out the deviations by assuming 2 as assumed mean, this is A and take out the deviations and you get this figure as you did previously in the case of shortcut method. Then divided by common factor m minus a divided by c, you will get d dash. And what is c over here? That is 4. So divided by 4 and you get this. 0 divided by 4 is 0, 4 divided by 4 is 1, 8 divided by 4 is 2, 12 divided by 4 is 3. Right? Now next step is you have to calculate FD dash. Find out where is F column, this is here, where is D dash column, this is here. And very clear, when you multiply these two columns, you will get FD dash. So multiply first one, 4 into 0 is equal to 0, 8 into 1 is equal to 8, 2 into 2 is equal to 4, 1 into 3 is equal to 3. Right? So you get FD dash and your formula needs sigma FD dash. So you have to do the total of this column and here we are getting 15 and then do the total of frequency column, this is also 15. Now put the values, write down the formula first. X bar is equal to A plus sigma FD dash upon N into C. The same formula, note it clearly, very carefully. There should not be any mistake in noting down the formula, right? And then put the values. A here is 2, so write down 2 in place of A plus sigma FD dash is 15, write down 15, sigma F is 15, write down 15 here, into class interval is 4, write down 4 here and you do the calculation, it becomes 2 plus 4, that is equal to 6 and the same answer we have got. Clear? Isn't it interesting? Very interesting. Doing the calculation is also very interesting once you know the steps, and putting the values in the end is very simple. From the tables only you see what is FD dash, what is N, what is this, and then write it down and do the simple calculation. Clear? So this way I think all the three methods you must have learned properly. In the case of individual series, discrete series and continuous series, and the three methods in each case I have taken as direct method, shortcut method and step deviation method. So this completes your calculation of arithmetic mean.